Yo.
Yo. I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yup.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing, man? Huh?
I'm hanging in there,
All right.
Not really wanting to go to work, but knowing that I have to.
Yeah, no one ever wants to go to work, Joe. No matter what anyone tells you. Everybody hates their jobs.
It's probably true.
But think about this weekend, you have plenty of stuff to not to leave your house.
I have plenty of stuff to do to not leave my house. What do I have to do?
I don't know, watch Sandman.
Oh, dude, I am so bad right now with all that stuff. I still have yet to start watching Paper Girls, even though I really want to watch that.
I watched the first 2 episodes last night in anticipation. Maybe you watched something, but I know you didn't, so...
Yeah, no, like, first off, working at night is kind of nice, but at the same time, I'm just not mentally prepared to really watch anything in the morning.
Yeah.
Because nighttime was always the time that I was like more mentally prepared to watch stuff
And relax.
And coming home, relax and stuff. And coming home getting home at like 9:15. I get home, I change and I wash up and stuff. So it's usually 9:30 by the time I'm ready to just relax. And it's like I really don't have time in my head to watch anything serious.
Yeah. A couple YouTube vids and that's about it.
Exactly. So it ends up just being watching like a couple of YouTube videos, and then just going to bed. Yeah. So I will try and watch some stuff this weekend, but with what else is going on Saturday, I don't know how much I'll get done.
What's going on Saturday?
Mike's coming over to
that's
pick
right.
stuff up.
I mean, he's going to be there for a few minutes. Also, Prey comes out this weekend too.
Ooh, Prey comes out?
Yep.
We have to go see that. I have not read anything about it, but I keep running into titles or headlines for stories of calling it like one of the best Predator movies that have been made.
Yep.
And it seems like a very interesting thing to call that movie because it's like it's a prequel to all the movies, and I didn't really expect it to be. I mean, I would hope that it would be a good movie. It's made by directed by Dan Trachtenberg. You know, I've liked him for a while. Some of the stuff that he's done in the past, but I'd never expected the Predator movies to really garner such praise.
Yeah.
And to just see those titles and just have to hold off, I'm like, I don't want to spoil anything for myself. But just to see those titles of calling it like one of the best Predator movies to be released in a while.
Well, we're not seeing it in theaters, Joe.
Why not?
Apparently it's not playing anywhere near us.
What kind of bullshit is that?
I agree with you. But it's on Hulu.
Oh.
So.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, because it's a direct, they put it on, it's one of the Fox properties that Disney said, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put it out for you all to watch on the services.
Well, that's cool.
I was kind of wanting to see it in theaters.
Yeah, me too, especially if it's getting such good reviews. I wonder why it's not getting just a full release, or is it?
Nope, not at all.
That's weird.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the crazy part too is, in other areas that Hulu doesn't exist in the world, that it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, that is really weird.
Yeah, it's very bizarre to think about. You're like, this is an R-rated movie about a murderous alien. How? But then, you know, they have Deadpool and Logan on there now, so Disney Plus is like, fuck it.
Speaking of Disney Plus fucking it.
I can't wait for this.
rumors still abound that they are making a Punisher show, and it's going to be with John Barenthal. This is coming from Giant Freaking Robot. I know, like last week or the week before, I mentioned that there was a rumor that that the Punisher would be making a cameo, at least in the new Daredevil show that they're making. But apparently, it's might be that he's getting his own show. Even going so far as to, I think in this article said that he's getting 18 episodes in the first season. I want to see
Disney ain't fucking around, huh? Disney's like, nah, give him all this show. Daredevil gets 18, then give him 18.
Yeah, there it is. John Barenthal's new Punisher series will have a whopping 18 episodes and be rated TVMA. So I'm down for it. Yeah. Like I said before, I'm still surprised that that they seem to be going full balls deep into bringing back the Punisher so fast. I thoroughly enjoyed John Bernthal's performance, but just what's happened in the last couple of years with the whole Punisher symbol and whatnot, I would think that Disney would be wanting to tone things down a little bit. And plus, he's a very even Daredevil. Daredevil's a bit more TVMA, but it's not as bad as the Punisher, who outright just fucking kills people. Bringing that to their Disney Plus service, I guess they're going for it with the more adult shows and movies.
I think
on Disney Plus.
I think it's just a fact of where we are. Like you put in the parental controls, right? Like you can't just you can actually go through and you lock stuff down, which is pretty cool in it. But obviously, Disney realizes they have to compete with the other platforms. You know what I mean? Like you have their biggest competitors, and obviously the oldest competitor is Netflix. But like one of the biggest ones right now, that it's a big draw, is HBO Max, and HBO Max has all that content on it. You know what I mean? It has kids stuff, it has adult stuff, it has that intermediate stuff, and it's just bolstering their lineup week after week and with new things. Obviously, with the whole merger with Discovery, there's some stuff going on, which I actually have an article to talk about too, if you haven't heard about it already. And some of the stuff that they're canceling, but it's definitely it's weird to say like, oh yeah, Disney's embracing the R-rated, but you got to realize that saying Disney is not indicative to everything that's under that umbrella. You know what I mean? You have so much more that they do, and like in other countries outside the United States, they have that Stars, I think it's called, right, version of it, where you have Disney, the Disney Plus, and then under that you have that Stars, which has all the the more mature content that would normally exist right now for us over like on Hulu and other platforms that are mildly filtered with some of the Disney stuff still. But they're trying to rein all that in and have this and bolster their stable of content to keep people thinking, you know what, I don't need Netflix, I have Disney Plus, and I don't need HBO Max, I have Disney Plus. Obviously, the HBO Max and Disney Plus, to me, are two of the best streaming services that are out there. And like I said, both of them are doing leaps and bounds in what they're doing. Amazon is trying to do a lot of things. I think they're doing them wrong. But I think, and not that their content's bad, I just think they're not doing it justice by having a larger stable of certain content. They're just kind of like all over the board with stuff. And most of the things they make, I've enjoyed. I can't think of anything on there I've watched that I didn't enjoy. Well, I did watch a trailer for something on there. I think it's on Amazon that looked like complete trash. But that's okay. But the Amazon's its own little like beast of, it's still trying to figure itself out, I think. But with like Disney adding, like it was weird when I saw that thing during Comic-Con. They're like, yeah, Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan are now on Disney Plus. I was like, in America? Like where people get offended by like, someone wearing brown pants? Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. But sure enough, you go there and they're bannered. They're on the top. They're featured content right on it. So I was like, they're not shying away from it. They're not trying to bury it. They're not like, yeah, it's on there, but we're not promoting it. No, that's like, hey, Deadpool 2, Logan, Lightyear. I was like, wait, what? Did you just throw three R-rated content movies up and then say, hey, by the way, Lightyear's available?
Right.
Okay. Whatever. So I'm down with it. It's cool. To the point where we were talking about with Predator and Deadpool, or and like Punisher. I should say Prey, not Predator. That stuff it's just another reason, to have it. I mean, obviously, here in America, like I said, you have to watch Prey on Hulu. In other places, I believe it's available on Disney Plus outside of Hulu, and not having a Hulu subscription or whatever. But it's weird. I did see. I watched a completely spoiler-free featurette that Dan Trachtenberg had talked about on his Twitter, so I went and watched it on YouTube, and it's not very long. It's like a minute 40 something, and all it does is basically give you the premise of the movie. It's not giving you any breakdowns, but it's more of him talking about the movie itself than what is in the movie, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the whole premise is this takes place, again, spoiler-free, 300 years before the first appearance of a predator on Earth. So this is the first time a predator has been on Earth, is what he says. And then he went on to talk about how they did a couple cool things in this. In it, they used actual Native American actors.
Nice.
The movie is bilingual. It is in English, but it has actual Comanche language in it, and you can watch it fully in Comanche. And the actors came back to do the voice over of everything. So the movie can be watched completely in Comanche language on all platforms. And at the end of it, he said available August 5th on Hulu and Disney Plus. And I'm guessing the Disney Plus part is for the outside of America, because I just looked that on my phone and I don't see a listing for it. Like, there's no trailer for it. But I'll check tomorrow or later tonight to see if it populates in there here in America. But I think it's only on Hulu here in the States, unless you're lucky enough to be like in LA where you can go see it on a big screen. I know they did early screenings of it. I don't know if they're continuing that. That's why I looked on Fandango to see, but there's nobody in a 50-mile radius that has it for us tomorrow, so I don't think we're seeing that on the big screen, but I'll watch it at home.
Right. One thing I do want to mention before we move on to the next thing you want to talk about is that the article did mention that there is a possibility that the Punisher might go to Hulu, not Disney Plus. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense. I mean, it's a well, it depends if they do go TV MA, that makes a little more sense, but also probably just to bolster what they're doing over on Hulu anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, I did see, speaking of the John Barrowthon, I saw something about that, like he was, I guess his contract was one of the only contracts with the Netflix thing that was also part of a Disney signing.
Mm-hmm.
So his contract never got dissolved.
Oh.
So because what happened with the other ones, they signed on beforehand, because obviously Punisher was the last bit of that Netflix Disney magic that was happening. His was a different contract than the other four. So with Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil, along with being in the Defenders mini series, I guess you could really call that, event, whatever you want to call it. Their contracts were different than John's for Punisher. Punisher was a thing they signed him on for as a spec to be in Daredevil. If they liked what it was, Disney was going to push that contract to do a series. So he technically has one more season on that contract they have not paid him out for, is the article that I read.
Interesting.
So
okay.
that could be what it is. And
So
if
this
it's,
could just be just a one shot too.
it could be. It depends on how good it is.
He'd probably come back for more if he really liked working with everybody that would be making the next season. But okay,
Yeah. So
That's
I mean,
cool.
I'm down for it, for sure. Actually, speaking of Disney shows, before I move on to the other thing I want to talk about, weirdly enough, a random article, and I think it was on, was it comicbooks.com? Fuck, I can't remember where I saw it. And I was trying to remember because I saw it not on the news app, and then I went to look for it, and I forgot what I was doing because I got distracted by shiny objects or something. But Oscar Isaac apparently confirmed a Moon Knight season 2.
Really?
Yeah, so it's this weird little thing, and it was a TikTok of all things that was linked in the article that I read, and I want to say someone shared it. Like, it was on Facebook through, I thought it was Comic Book Resources, but I couldn't find it earlier. So then I thought it was comicbook.com, but I was trying to look for it again, and again I got sidetracked from shiny objects. But basically it was it was on a boat. It was real quick, and if I can find it later, I'll send it to you. But it was on a boat, and it's you can see it's not America. Did you find it?
So I didn't find the TikTok, but I found on Collider.com. The title is Moon Knight, Mohammed Diab, and Oscar Isaac hint that season 2 is coming. The quote is, the TikTok features the pair pondering the question of whether or not Moon Knight will get a second season, to which Isaac responds with, "Why else would we be in Cairo?"
Yep, that's the one.
That seems really on the nose. But it's really interesting because it's not something that was on Marvel's roadmap during Comic-Con. But now that I think about it, how many TV series were on their roadmap?
So there are some, but they're all ones that tie to properties. But also, remember, there's 9 missing holes in Phase 6.
Right, but those were like way far away.
Yeah, but there are. I mean, we don't know where there could be a slip in there, whatever. But we don't know where that falls. You know what I mean? Like where it's gonna go. Yet in that little like scheme of things or whatever. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what happens. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, I need to find this, and I didn't end up finding it because again I got distracted because I'm very small-minded and things like that.
Crossword puzzle.
What? Oh, crossword puzzles. We playing crossword puzzles. So yeah, that was I thought that was pretty neato burrito. When I saw that, I was like, oh, all right, cool.
That would be cool. I really enjoyed that show, and I would like more of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to necessarily connect with everything else in the Marvel universe. Although, I do keep thinking about this. Once we get further into the MCU, into the next Avengers movie, it makes me wonder how much we'll see of these TV characters in those movies. Because we really haven't seen any TV characters in any of the Avengers movies yet.
Yeah, we obviously the first, correct me if I'm wrong, the first non-movie character to show up in a movie was Daredevil in Spider-Man.
Right.
We've had movie characters show up in TV shows, including ones that are apparently not supposed to be canon, which is like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not supposed to be like the 616. It's supposed to be a different universe, apparently.
Fair.
Whatever.
I never read that, but okay, but I was never big into the S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, it was
Shield.
not. It was
No,
not.
I
right.
liked the S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Wasn't
you
big
did.
into S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where like the next closest one, obviously, She-Hulk is a big one because Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is in it. Hawkeye obviously was from the movies to the TV shows, and from Yolando's from Black Widow was in the TV show. obviously. So we've gone that way. But I believe the only other direction we've gone where TV went to movie appearance was Daredevil.
Yeah.
Because even like Captain Marvel shows up in Miss Marvel. And then obviously a lot of the other shows were all, the first slate of shows were all based on characters coming from a movie to a TV platform, WandaVision, Captain America, Winter Soldier, all those ones. But yes, you're right. We have not breached the other way other than Daredevil making an appearance. Well, Matt Murdock making an appearance in the Spider-Man No Way Home. I was about to say Far From Home. It's not the right one. No Way Home.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I think it's dope. And we already know the next person to make that leap is going to be Miss Marvel because she's in the Marvels, which is the sequel to Captain Marvel. That's why Captain Marvel was in. Carol Danvers was in the end of Miss Marvel. Spoiler alert for anybody who didn't know. But yeah, I think I'm completely okay with them just doing these, not standalone, but you know what I mean? Like they don't have to do with the bigger overarching everything. It's just their own little thing. Because that's how comics have always been, you know? And yes, later down the line, when Secret Wars comes along and they do a whole fucking, just everybody shows up that's ever been attached to an MCU anything, shows up in it, then yeah, I'm down with having Moon Knight show up to fucking, you know, transform 19 times and punch people in the face with different gloves. I'm okay with it. I'm down, but I'm completely okay with them putting him in his own little world. Even as far as like, yeah, like in just being the TV show stuff all by its own, because he kind of, other than the fact that he rides the rails of that supernatural elements like Blade does and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a little more like mystic than like kind of like Doctor Strange is. I'm okay with them not like, yeah, you could mention it, but like you don't have to. Like he doesn't have to like go along with anybody else. I think they could just do a solo. Yes, it's probably based in the same world and they talk about it, but you got to know, like, at one point, if that was more of a thing they're going to do, someone should mention the giant Egyptian gods fighting in Cairo one night. You know what I mean? It's just something that should probably pop up at one point and be like, hey, do y'all see the big gods hanging out? No, we're also not going to mention the stone god hanging out in the ocean at the end of that one.
The sky just moving on its own.
Yeah. No? Okay. That's
rewinding
cool.
thousands of years.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, not at all. But at the same time, we're also not going to mention the giant fucking baby, you know, Galactus thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Coming out of the Earth, too. So, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. Anywho, moving forward. Oh, by the way, did you ever watch the Andor trailer?
I did watch the Andor trailer.
Okay, what'd you think?
It's really fucking dope.
Yeah,
I really
right?
liked it. I was surprised to see Saul, what's his name?
Yep, that's the one. Ghost Dog?
Lawrence Fishburne's character?
Not Lawrence Fishburne.
Not Fishburne. Jesus Christ. I'm spacing out on every single fucking name right now.
Forrest?
The one dude with the eye thing.
Forrest
Whitaker.
There you go. Ghost Dog, sir. Call him by his proper name.
I was just surprised to see his character in it. I'm spacing out on the actual character's name. I don't remember I only watched it once. I don't remember all the little details about it. It looked kind of like your, I would say, standard Star Wars trailer, but it felt more like Rogue One.
Yeah.
Than anything, which is cool. I loved Rogue One. I even saw some articles comparing it to Rogue One. But yeah, I'm completely down for watching it. It looks really cool. The only thing that sucks is I know that we talked about it last week. I think it was when it's going to be released, and that they were going to release the first 2 episodes, and unfortunately, it got pushed back, and I cannot remember why or when. Original release date was supposed to be September 21st. Or no, it's been pushed back to September 21st, not August 31st. That's what it was. Yeah.
We get the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, but on top of that, we get 3 episodes the first week instead of, I think, 2 episodes. Because I had this article pulled up from Inverse, Why is Andor Delayed? A surprising Marvel leak could reveal the answer. And the basic answer of it was that they didn't have anything to fill the August release date, I believe it was. So they pushed Andor back to have something that they could release around that time. Because also in September, they have something else coming out. What was it? Do you remember what it was?
In September? Or in August?
Yeah. Or in August, sorry. The way the article puts it, it says release date September 21st, not August 31st. I keep flipping those 2 days around as the first was the original date, not the second.
No. Oh, isn't She-Hulk?
Oh, that's what. Okay, so Twitter leaker at Can We Get Toast claims to have seen some of the upcoming Marvel Halloween special, which will focus on the character Werewolf by Night and star Gail Garcia Bernal and Laura Donnelly. But according to the leak, the special has a very different tone than the other Marvel works. The leak claims that the special is campy, with the werewolf transformation effects foregoing CGI in favor of practical effects. A la Teen Wolf is what it says here. The choices will likely prove divisive for those who appreciate nostalgia and silliness. It could be, but for traditional, blah, blah, blah. Get to your point. God, this article was meandering.
Bro, I'm telling you.
But how does this all affect Andor? Well, Disney Plus business model relies on new work releasing every month to keep subscribers from canceling. Initially, it looked like the Marvel Halloween special would be the perfect project to carry subscribers into November. But with the leak regarding its tone drawing mixed reviews, it may not have as much appeal as Disney hoped. Instead, Disney Plus is hoping that Andor's 12-episode first season will keep subscribers happy until the holiday season and into another billing cycle. So that's what this article is saying as to why it got pushed back.
Business is business, man. I understand that. I'm okay with it because that means we're not... Because She-Hulk does start on the 18th of this month.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather...
So we already have a property that can carry us over into the next billing cycle.
Yeah. So it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it's not a Star Wars property, but it is something.
It's still a big property, and there is a lot of crossover between Star Wars and Marvel fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a big thing. There's a reason they make $1 billion movies or $1 billion box office movies. Is the fact that there's a lot of crossover. Those people are like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go check those out. Now there's those like hardcore I hate everything new Star Wars people that need to just pass away and die in their sleep peacefully and leave the internet alone. So I can enjoy stuff. But what I was going to say about Andor is Andor actually didn't use the same technology that Mandalorian and other ones have used, the volume.
Yeah.
They actually forego that for actual sets and places. It
damn near looks like they filmed in real places. So
yeah,
I guess it makes sense that they filmed in real places, which is good.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And someone said that there's like a leak that Ahsoka shows up in the Andor show, and I was like, what?
Really? I didn't read that at all.
I was like, you know how old she's going to have to be? Andor takes place like right before episode 4. And
how,
like that's a lot going on.
But she comes along in the Rebels series, right? Which takes place after episode 3?
Yeah. Because she's prevalent, because she's part of the events of Attack of the Clones, obviously,
right.
and in the Clone Wars, things like that. But, like, to have her, not that she obviously has to die or whatever, but it's like, bro, like, maybe her show's going to tell us more about like, where she's been or what she's doing. But it's like, dude, she's like, that's some time. You know what I mean? Like, that's, if she does, that's cool, but, like, at that point, she should be still hiding from not getting hunted down and murdered by a man in an all-black suit that has a cape fetish.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
All right. Well, I mean, it'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't know how that's going to work with the whole underground thing that they have going on with Andor, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't.
Right.
I'm just saying you probably don't have to. She is getting her own show after all, so let her do her thing. So the thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if you read anything about this or not, but DC has canceled the Batgirl movie.
Yes, I read that headline somewhere.
So the crazy thing about it is apparently this movie's done. Like, not
that's
done.
Made it, like, I didn't read the article, but that's the way the headline made it sound. Like, it's done, and they were just like, nah, this thing fucking sucks. Let's just can it.
Yeah, so apparently it's a $90 million movie that test audiences compared to a bad television episode.
Well, because it's based off of the TV show, isn't it? Or is it not?
I don't know.
Who had that? Was it Batwoman?
Batwoman had her show, yeah.
Batwoman had her show.
Yeah,
maybe I'm confusing it with that. But the image that they did show of Batgirl didn't look great.
No, it looks like a cosplayer.
It looked like a made-for-TV thing, and that's why probably I'm confusing whether or not. I just don't watch the TV version of DC properties. Like, if it's on HBO Max, I might hear about it and watch it. But like, Batwoman was on CW.
CW, yeah.
And I don't watch that type of stuff, so I just assumed that, oh, maybe there was a Batgirl CW or she appeared in the Batwoman show. But okay, yeah, continue.
So it was it is one of the many high profile victims of the HBO Max Discovery Plus merger. So Warner Brothers and Discovery merging the streaming services because they're cutting lots of costs, and that's apparently one of them, along with a bunch of the Scooby-Doo related stuff they were doing. Which included a prequel series and a sequel movie to the Scoob movie that came out during the pandemic. So, like, that's one of many things. And people are freaking out because, like, oh, whatever. But it's like, also, you got other stuff, and don't worry. It's not like they're shit-canning all the other things and stuff like that. I just thought it was interesting because, like, not that it was a super high profile like property that was going on. Like, there was, but it was like there was a lot of buzz around this movie, and then to spend $70 to $90 million on something that you're going to put directly on HBO Max just to completely shelve and shit can, it seems a little weird to me.
Yeah, like, you could have at least tried to make some of your money back by putting it on HBO Max and just having random people watch it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, like, you could have just put it out. Like, you're done. The movie's been viewed by audiences. Yeah, it may not be great, but to shit can $70 to $90 million worth of product just in case, like, all right.
It must have been bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It must have been real bad.
Not even a good editor could fix.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this thing must have been a shit can fire. You know what I mean? Like,
or they expected that maybe reshoots and CG work would be much more expensive to put into it, so you just cut your losses.
Yeah, dude. Like, saying obviously cutting a movie that cost upwards of $90 million is a lot, but obviously, like, it also could tarnish, I guess, if it's that bad. Could it tarnish what they've already done, which is obviously they've done that several times over on themselves, but it must have been real bad. Like, real bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yikes.
And
bad.
That image, like I said, doesn't do it any help. I saw the one image that article showed of it, which was just Batwoman or Batgirl standing on, like, a building or something like that. The suit didn't look good at all. No, it looked very TV show quality.
Yeah, it's not great because I think they went more towards the practical. Not that, I mean, obviously the Batman, like Pattinson's suit was all practical, but, like, it just doesn't look good. It looks very campy, I guess you would say, and not in a good way. Like,
no.
Like, it was like, And that's the problem. And we've talked about this before. Superhero costumes are very hard to make in real life and look good.
Yeah.
But like Batman and Bat Family suits are probably the most because like they look more dynamic on the page than they do in real life because like they don't move the same way. Like you can make it move however you want when you're drawing the pictures or animating it. But when you're making it live action, it's going to you're going to have to rethink the design to make it look different like they did with Pattinson's suit and Christian Bale's suit. Because if you look at all the Batmans and even Batfleck, like they rethought how those suits looked because they know like you can't take spandex from the page and just throw it on a human being and make it work well. Yeah. And this is one of those things where like this doesn't look like a good version of it. Like it looks like if someone were to wear this as a cosplay, I'd be like, damn, good job. Right. But like to make this move and play and react like it should in a show or in a movie probably isn't that great. But you know, who knows? Yeah. But I thought it was very interesting that they shit canned it. Like I'm saying, like you shit can something after a few days of dailies, you're like, nope, I don't like it. Let's get rid of it. Okay, I get it. Your movie's done. Yeah. Like you just fucking at that point, just put it out.
Just put it out. Like you don't have to advertise it, really. You just be like, yeah, we did this thing. It's here if you want to watch it. Just go watch it.
Yeah, but it's like to shit can it, dude. They must have been like, what did we put money into? Like that's ridiculous. How terrible this must be for them to just be like, nah. We'll just write that off.
Holy crap. Aside from Grace, who I'm assuming is the Leslie Grace?
Leslie Grace is the actress who plays Batgirl, yeah.
It also starred Michael Keaton as Batman and J.K. Simmons and Brendan Fraser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what everyone's like, oh my God. Like,
so
why?
A lot of that budget went to some of these high-profile people in it who actually probably even had, I would almost bet had I don't know what you call it, runners or whatever it is, in it stating that they're going to cut of the final proceeds, the gross the gross budget of it. So maybe that's also why they canned it. They just knew that they wouldn't make their money back.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's high profile people. This isn't just like a made for TV movie of nobodies. This literally had somebodies in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it wasn't just like, hey, it's a one shot with this like I'm not gonna say Leslie Grace is unknown, but she's not a recognizable name like Michael Keaton or J.K. Simmons or even Brendan Fraser. Like it's like those names are known. Like you say the name Brendan Fraser. To me, three things pop in my brain: The Mummy, Encino Man, and obviously, well, there's a lot of things it could be. Let's see.
Scrubs.
Yeah, Scrubs. It shows up as Scrubs, one of the saddest characters ever in Scrubs history. You didn't think I remember that, huh?
No, I would hope that you would remember it.
I remember that whole.
I'm a big fan of Scrubs, but that episode is like the Futurama.
Yep. I was about to say the same
dog
thing.
Episode.
Yep.
It's so goddamn good and so goddamn sad, and I hate thinking about it. Thank you for reminding me of it.
You're welcome. Yeah. So it's and then you say Michael Keaton. Obviously, Michael Keaton, the OG Batman for many people, because he was the first on like movie screen Batman. Right? For most of us living human beings.
I was going to say, I think Adam West had a Batman movie.
I don't know if that was ever in theaters, though, because Batman 66, I thought that movie was only on for TV. Was that on the big screen? Was that ever released in theaters?
I don't know. I'm not old enough to know it, but I was just actually.
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 Like I said, I don't think that ever made it to like the actual movies. I think that was a TV movie made. I think Keaton was the first like movie screen Batman. I think.
Let's see. First Batman in theaters. Batman 1966.
So that was in theaters.
Batman also known as Batman the movie.
Yeah. Okay, that was in theaters then? Okay.
Yeah, that's what Wikipedia says.
All right. Well, I'm not Ralph Garman, so I will say Michael Keaton will always be my first on-screen or movie screen Batman.
And yeah, he's my first on-screen Batman as well.
Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy what they did with the Adam West Batman, but it's not Batman to me. But when I say Michael Keaton, a couple things are gonna pop up: Batman, Beetlejuice, and the fact that he's in the MCU. I mean, amongst other things, there's other things in there too. But you know, what I'm saying is he's got a you know, he has a lot of cred. J.K. Simmons, obviously, J.K. Simmons has already been Commissioner Gordon on screen because he was Commissioner Gordon in the Snyderverse. He's obviously J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man. Two versions of it, technically. So it's weird. Again, it's weird to say this movie was done and they're not going to do anything with it. Now, that may change, but probably not. I'm just saying. This is weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
It's very... It seems like a very heavy pen to write off something with. You know what I mean? Like, oh, bro, what did you just do? Like to what you said earlier. You know how bad this movie must been for them to go, nah,
we're just done with it.
You could really promote that movie as, hey, like OG Batman comes back right before like the Flash, because he's obviously going to be in the Flash with Batfleck. But like you're like, oh, and this is technically in the Snyderverse, I guess, because it has you know that Commissioner Gordon in it, so like it's kind of a tie to that, so that's cool. Not like in the same universe, because obviously Batman is definitely, there's no way Batfleck came from Keaton. Like, there's no way possibly those two could be the same human being. But I'm saying is like it's a tie to it, you know what I mean? It's like it's a tie to the, you know, this. And then you have Brendan Fraser. Everyone's like lovable fat guy now is like, you know, like he's come back. He was gonna be Firefly in this movie, and everyone's like, oh, you know, he's on his resurgence and he's coming back. I'm like, first off, I don't think he ever went away.
Not really. He
just didn't do another fucking mummy movie. But yeah, dude, that movie must have been fucking garbage for them not even to try to make a little money off of it. Like that I mean, Sony's put out some shit before. Warner Brothers has put out some shit before that they just, to even put on a streaming service you have, just in general, it's not going to cost you anything. You already have the streaming service. You know, just put it there. Just be like, oh, well, fuck it. We fucked up. Have fun watching it.
And it can't be worse than some of the movies, like you said, that they put out where they're literally just trying to hold on to the IP. So they have to put something out, and so they just put something awful out just to hold on to that IP.
Yeah, dude, it's like, what? Like, nah, just you have a platform you can just dump shit on, and you don't even have to.
Yeah, this might not be good now, but yeah, you still retain the IP or something like that. Well, I mean, they obviously still would because they're Warner Brothers and they own DC, but yeah, like there is a precedent for just releasing crap. Just to get it out because you've already done it.
Just dump it, dude. It's like it's there.
Like it had to have been so bad that the more money they would have had to put into it to make it watchable,
I'm telling you,
was more than they wanted to actually put into it. So, but pivoting off of that, speaking of other properties that have gotten, that aren't getting a sequel, I guess. I don't know why this has come up in the past couple of weeks as such a big deal as it seems that it is. But the new Tomb Raider reboot that came out back in 2019 or something like that?
The
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2018 Tomb Raider starring Alicia Vikander.
Yeah.
We went and saw it in movies. I know I enjoyed it. It wasn't a good movie, but but I enjoyed it and wanted to see a sequel. They were, I guess, making a sequel to it. They were in production or like in pre-production for making a sequel, writing the scripts and stuff, but they couldn't decide on something. And apparently within the last couple of weeks, I just keep seeing articles pop up about this, that that Alicia Vikander was on board. She wanted to do a sequel, but within the last couple of weeks, MGM lost the rights to it because they didn't make a sequel. So right now there's apparently a bidding war going on for who will own the rights to the Tomb Raider series going forward.
Interesting.
That's all it is. I just don't know why it was such a big thing that kept popping up in my feed the past couple of weeks. Because it was a good movie to me. It wasn't a great movie, but it's a movie I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, it's one of those
because
movies.
I really like the reboot games.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a solid movie. It had its failings, like every movie does for the most part. Especially something that's taking its a property and moving it to a different media. We've talked about this before. But it's like, for the most part, that movie pretty much nailed all of the points of like the game. Mm-hmm. Like she went into a tomb. Like she went to a tomb and raided it.
Yeah.
Like Angelina Jolie's versions of the movies were fucking terrible. I'll tell you right now. I will always stand by those. Those movies were fucking awful.
Yeah.
She did raid some tombs in those movies. So it's not saying they didn't do it. The problem with those movies is those movies made no fucking sense.
No.
This one, she actually did what she does in the game, where she solves puzzles and raids a tomb. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what the whole thing was. Yes, there's action and shooty stuff, right? But they went for more of the reboot version, which is more Indiana Jones than it was Gunslinger.
Which is why I kind of liked it. Right.
And they, to me, embodied that in that movie. Mm-hmm. And I think they should have had a sequel. But it's one of those things where, like, those movies couldn't, like, you could make those cheaper than they probably made that movie.
Probably. It's not like you're doing heavy CGI or anything in it.
Yeah, and you can do a lot of it. I mean, maybe the volume sets could work with a lot of it for, like, creating environments that don't exist in the real world, obviously. But you still need some practical-ish effects, like in sets you need to put to her to be jump around on, because you can't just fucking put her on a wire and just fling her around on a volume set, because it will look a little bad. But I mean, look at like for example, how the Batman did it, right? I press you to tell me what scenes were shot on a volume set and were shot on a real set in that movie. It's difficult.
It's difficult. I know one scene, but it is difficult.
Like there's one scene that's clearly you can, not that you can tell.
It's not clearly. It's that I watched like somebody's like making of it. I think it was on the Corridor Crew or something.
It was,
like that.
yeah.
They went over that, and it was like, this scene was done on the volume effect stage, and it's like, oh, that wasn't real.
Yeah.
I mean, it was real, but like, good God, it looks so good in film that it.
Yeah.
You would think that they actually filmed it at that time of day.
Yeah.
In that area.
Yeah, and they brought up a lot of very valid points on that because, like, there's that scene takes place during Magic Hour, which isn't actually an hour long. It's a few minutes, so to have that accessible whenever you wanted to would be real great. But yeah, like you could utilize, because look at, like, all right, we'll say something like The Mandalorian, right? Mandalorian shot on volume. And again, sometimes it's real fucking hard to tell what is not real and what's not. And it's Star Wars. None of that shit's real. Mm-hmm. It's all made up shit. They don't ever go to real places.
No.
You know? And I think the new, if I read correctly, the new, to me, what looks to be horrific new, what's that Nicolas Cage fucking movie that you love so much?
National Treasure.
Yeah, that new TV show, it looks fucking trash, but I don't like those movies, so maybe it's just me. But
it probably is just you, because those movies are great.
They're not.
They're fantastic.
The Librarian's better than that shit.
The librarians are really good too.
No, they're not. Anyhow, I believe they use volume on some of those, if I remember reading correctly. I
wouldn't doubt it. It seems like that way of making, you've already got the apparatus set up.
Yeah.
So it might be cheaper just to film in that when you're going to more exotic places. I don't think if you end up in Philadelphia, it's considered an exotic place. But if you're going traveling the world, it might be easier to do it in one of those sets versus actually traveling the world. Not everybody is Star Wars.
Exactly. But also, like, you know, if you're in Philadelphia and you go to, like, I don't know, some place that has history and there's a secret door, it's easier just to make a fucking fake door they walk through and then shoot the rest of it on volume where you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah. I could see that, but I digress. Back to what you're talking about, the Tomb Raider thing. I think it's dope that they lost it because you don't hear about that too often. You hear about them cranking out just garbage. Right. Just to keep it alive.
Exactly what I would thought that they would have at least done. Tried to get something out. According to the article, they were aiming for a sequel release day of 2021, but obviously the pandemic hit and kind of threw things out of proportion. But I still would have thought that they would have tried to push something out in order to keep the property.
I wonder what the term for that was then, because it seems like you can go quite a long time.
Oh yeah, it seems like there are look at a lot of the Marvel properties. A lot of the Marvel characters in early years feel like these companies had like multiple decades worth of retainment of these characters. Where here it's like 2018 to 2022. It's a very short period of time to have exclusive rights to a property.
What was that? Lionsgate? No. Who made that one?
Who made which one?
Who made the new one?
Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
MGM.
Was it MGM?
MGM originally had the rights to it. Yeah.
Okay, so they lost it to whoever's going to get it.
They lost it, and so far they haven't announced, as far as I've seen, that anybody's picked it up yet.
Interesting.
There is a bidding war, according to this article from The Verge, but it doesn't say who has picked up the rights, if anybody. Although it does mention that Netflix is working on an animated Tomb Raider adaptation right now. So they have at least the animated rights to it.
Interesting. Tomb Raider 2018 movie. Directed by that person's that Roar? That dude's fucking name is Roar? Wow, that guy should be able to make stuff. Trying to see who distributed by Warner. Obviously.
I didn't realize Amazon acquired MGM in March. Yeah. So that could be also the reason why this kind of got scrapped.
Oh, it could be. They could be cutting them loose.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want this. We got other plans. We gonna make James Bond. We think. No, it doesn't. I was gonna try to see who technically owns the IP. Is it? Well, it's Crystal Dynamics owns the game, right? That this was based on, but who owns?
Well, they own the game that this is based on, but I don't know if Crystal Dynamics actually owns the rights to Tomb Raider anymore. I thought they sold them off to the gaming rights. I thought they just recently sold
Square
them
Enix?
to someone.
Does Square Enix own it?
No,
because they're listed as a producer of the movie.
Yeah, but like this is something more recent that who owns the rights to because I want to say a couple months ago. Yeah, I'm gonna find just all the stuff on the show. It looks like. Yeah. Okay. Square Enix to sell iconic video game franchises. That was May of this year. But I don't remember who bought it.
And Crystal Dynamics is a subsidiary of Square Enix.
Right. So Square Enix said Monday it will offload 3 of its game development studios, Eidos Interactive, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal, to Swedish firm Embracer Group. So they didn't just offload the property, they offloaded the actual
studios.
Studios
Holy shit.
that made it. So the studio, I guess, still technically owns the property for the game, but Square Enix no longer owns Crystal Dynamics. A Swedish firm known as Ember Racer Group owns it.
Interesting. Well, that is strange. It's not like they. I mean, I guess Square Enix is pushing all their money to fucking just
NFTs, apparently, according to this person's tweet.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Square Enix. This is the same article from CNBC. Titled Tomb Raider publisher sells iconic video game franchise to invest in blockchain. And somebody's tweet that they posted in the article from a Joseph Gribben, or at Joe Gribben, says Square Enix selling their Western studios for $300 million so they can invest in blockchain is very funny to me. Like sending your house, like selling your house for magic beans.
Yeah.
So I guess they're investing in blockchain or NFTs or something like that.
Yikes.
Yeah, that seems like a very bad idea. What do I know, though? I don't make games. I'm not a publisher.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just a dude on a podcast talking about stuff.
I thought you were going to do like a whole fucking Tropic Thunder thing. I'm just a dude talking to another dude on a podcast about things. That's what I thought you were going to say, but...
That's not what I was going for. That would have been a lot better. The quote I was going for was more of a riff on an inside joke at my old Geek Squad.
Oh.
But, which is just I'm a dude at a store, fixing computers. I don't know, man.
That's fair. I think that's...
Things that I do know, though, if we want to talk about real quick for this past week before we get off.
Yes.
Since I can just mention this one real quick, we don't really even have to talk about it. Apparently, Metallica is collabing with Stranger Things and actually selling Hellfire Club merchandise. So if you really liked the shirt that Eddie wears in Stranger Things, Metallica is selling the shirt. You know, baseball. I think it's called baseball style. That
baseball,
like half sleeve.
Yep.
White chest, black
sleeves.
There we go. I totally forgot. I was like shoulders, sleeves. I couldn't remember the word sleeve for a second there. With the Hellfire symbol on it, the demon, and then it says the Hellfire Club. But instead of having a sword and a flail, I think it is, which is on the original shirt, it has a sword and a guitar, if I recall right.
Yeah, it's Eddie's guitar.
So it looks almost exactly like it, except those little bit of changes. They're selling the shirt, a hoodie, and something else. I didn't look at prices. I thought it was really cool. I thought about buying it for a second because I actually do like that style of shirt, but nah, I probably won't.
Nah, I probably won't
get it. But I thought it was cool that it's literally being sold on Metallica's website, like their merch store website. Everything that has been coming out around that song, The Master of Puppets, and Stranger Things and Metallica, and the way Metallica is just loving it and owning it, and they're getting like a weird resurgence because of it. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's absolutely fantastic. Some of the stuff that's been coming out of that's been making a resurgence because of Stranger Things.
Yeah,
it's really awesome. The only other thing that I think we could touch on real quick is that Roadhouse remake that you guys were talking about on
Roadhouse.
What?
Roadhouse.
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 Roadhouse. Daily Beast had an article about it called "A Roadhouse Remake." Remake without the 80s is no Roadhouse at all. You could read the article in your own time. I would suggest it just makes the argument that there are certain properties that are so of their time that they probably should never be remade. And he makes a good argument that Roadhouse is one of those properties that is just such an 80s movie that when you try and bring it into the modern time, and I do kind of agree with it, I would maybe like to see what they have in mind, what they end up doing with the new movie, which stars Jake Gyllenhaal and also
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. I was like, that UFC guy. I kind of want to see at least an idea of what they're doing with it. I did read a little bit about it. Apparently, Jake Gyllenhaal plays an ex-UFC fighter who retires to somewhere in Florida to be a bouncer.
Yep.
That's basically what I remember reading about it. So I still don't know where Conor McGregor comes in. I'm guessing he might play a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He might not have more of a part in the movie rather than just a UFC fight.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, I do think that there are certain properties, not that necessarily anybody holds them so true to their heart and like, you should never remake my childhood because you're ruining my childhood type of thing. But like just the idea of taking this property, which you don't really have technology in it. It's very straightforward. Bouncer comes in, like he's apparently the best bouncer in the world. He comes in and just cleans up this bar in this little town. It's such an 80s movie that if you try and bring it to the modern day, there's so much other technology and other social issues and everything else going on that it's not going to feel like the same movie. So why even make it Roadhouse? Make it something else. It's just going to be such a different movie anyway.
Yeah, you could just call it whatever you wanted and just not have the character's name the same, and you'd be fine with. I'd be okay with it. Like, I'm not against this. Like, go ahead and make it whatever you want. But it's one of those things, like you're saying, it's not gonna ruin the original for me. Like, the original's not one of my favorite movies of all time.
No.
But to your point, it is very 80s, and very like time capsule-y, right? Like, if you wanted to show someone a movie that, like, hey, this movie could only exist in this 10-year gap of time, and usually pretty much like a 3 or 4, 5 year gap, really. It is definitely going to be one of those movies you could show them would be Roadhouse. It is like just so well made 80s perfection. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you can't imagine anything more.
You just keep explaining how 80s it is and how it is perfectly 80s. It is, it's just that type of movie that you can't really remake without heavily changing it into something different.
Yeah, and he's just going to lose the magic that it was.
Because it's an 80s movie, because there's no technology really in it, because there's no real anything in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like when they did Point Break. I never watched that new one because I saw a trailer and I was like, well, it's not Point Break. This is that one movie.
It could have been a great movie if you did something else with it, if it was some other movie.
Because you could have called it, what was that fucking, we talked about this before. Oh my God. Extreme Ops? Is that what it's called?
I have no idea.
With the skiers and snowboarders that are like robbing banks or whatever?
I have no idea.
It's like Point Break, but like on snow, I think, if I remember correctly. Anyhow.
I'm going to type in Point Break on snow and see what pops up.
Okay. I'll wait.
Because it sounds like cocaine on snow. Or I'm going to get Point Break snowboarding. It just comes up with Point Break extreme snowboarding.
I want to say, God.
Was there must have been a scene then in Point Break where they're snowboarding instead. Because it says a 2015 movie. And this looks like the 2015 movie. So
yeah,
I think
that's what I'm saying.
Thinking of the 2015 movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is that movie, the new one made me think of Extreme. I want to say it's called Extreme Ops. Yeah, it was Extreme Ops. Oh yeah, I fucking knew it. With a Metacritic critic of 17. So that tells you how
tomato score of 7.
Anyway, how good that fucking movie
I never
is.
saw this. I didn't know about this. This is just entering my lexicon. So
I'll send you a trailer because it's fantastically terrible. But it'll be like, oh, wait.
I will not watch that trailer.
You could have called like that new Point Break. You could have called it Extreme Ops, and it would have been fine because it would have been like I'd have been like, oh, you remade that piece of shit. What's next? Ski school? Like, come on, let's do this, right? Anyhow, That the only other thing I have before we wrap it up, we'll do it real quick, is Netflix and Dark Horse extended their partnership and announced a new movie with David. Is it Leitch? Is it Leitch? Is that how you say his last name? The dude that did Deadpool and Bullet Train. Is it Leitch?
I actually don't know what that dude's name is.
Anyways, and Idris Elba in a movie called Bang, which is based on a graphic novel by the same name by Matt Kent. So that's cool. But also in this, part of this is multiple things. So you have obviously the success of Umbrella Academy, which people say success. I didn't enjoy. I didn't even finish the first season because I was like, I don't enjoy this. It's a little too for me. Because I like the comic book, but like I think we talked about this outside the podcast, is didn't do enough to make it like the podcast would say the comic book is just too outlandish to make on screen without being animated, and they tried, and to me they did not do a good job. But people love it, so it's fine, it's fair, whatever. But they are doing Bang, which is a spy thriller or stylish spy thriller, and they're also doing Mind Management, which is fucking dope, and I love that book. So that's pretty cool too. And amongst other things they're doing too, that this article talks about. But I thought it was pretty cool because Bang is gonna basically be Idris Elba's but it's gonna be his James Bond, because it's very James Bondy with gadgets and spy punchery and stuff. So that's fucking cool. And it's David Leitch. I don't know how to say his fucking name. The dude that did Deadpool and the dude that's doing Bullet Train, amongst other things, he is doing this movie along with starring Idris Elba. So, and the best part is the movie's being written by Matt Kent, the guy who created the comic book.
Oh, cool.
So, boom, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought I'd bring it up because it's pretty rad.
That's pretty rad.
I did look, and Bang is not available on Comixology, Joe. So I was gonna say you could check it out and see if you like it, but it's not on there, so you can't.
That sucks.
I didn't look up Mind Management, though, but I think you'd enjoy that because it has science stuff in it.
I do like science stuff.
So, anyhow, that was all I had for this week.
Me too.
All right, we'll wrap it up with that. This has been Comes Naturally. We have been
Joe.
I have been Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.